Be careful consuming too much messaging from people who are obviously nihilistic, antinatalist, misanthropic, deeply pessimistic about humanity in their perspective. A lot of times, these perspectives are fed by a feedback loop of almost exclusively internet based socialization. And if you look closely at the root of the people who are giving out these extremist, misanthropic, nihilistic perspectives, have little interpersonal relationships, rarely go out of the house, are socializing almost exclusively on the internet at this point. And it's easy to have a sort of caricaturized, really extremist perspective of the world when you're only looking at the world through an avatar on the internet. Disconnect from these people, be wary of them. A lot of this stuff isn't healthy, and a lot of this stuff is just not based in reality. And unfortunately, these sort of hardcore perspectives are the ones that get the most attention because they feed on our frustration, they feed on our insecurities, they feed on our trauma, on our fears, on our stress, and all these other negative emotions. And it feels good to sort of re-perpetuate them. And that's what these people kind of end up building a platform off of. It's not healthy. It's not really productive. Just be wary, even if take what you can from the messaging, if there's anything to be derived. But be cautious. Look at the people that you're consuming messages from. See, do they interact out in the world? Do they have a lot going on for themselves? Do they have interpersonal relationships? Do they actually have anything to justify the authority with which that they're speaking on the things that they're criticizing, or that they're speaking on, or do they admit that they don't have a lot of real world relationships? They don't go out in the world a lot. So I guess the bottom line is just be careful about what sort of parasocial relationships you're forming with content creators on the internet, and just be wary and look at the root of what is nourishing their message. And, just be cautious when it seems that it's a very nihilistic perspective and viewpoint, and look at where that's coming from. And if it's, if somebody has made it clear that they don't have a lot of interpersonal relationships, don't have a lot of experience with romantic relationships, or if it just had a very negative experience, or are pretty much solitary and socializing almost exclusively on the internet, you got to realize that what's nourishing that message is not necessarily rooted in a pro-social or reality-based a source. And that's important. We need to be careful. It's so easy to spiral off into these extreme ways of thinking that don't actually benefit us and that actually harm us, and it capitalizes off of our more negative feelings and our traumas. And some of these people that are the loudest in the room and that are able to attract people based on their pain and their trauma are unhealed themselves. So, look at the root of where some of the messaging is coming from before you consume it, because, it impacts us. So that's all. Stay healthy.